You know what's fascinating about watching people make decisions? It's like everyone's walking around with a GPS that constantly says recalculating, but instead of following the new route, they keep driving straight into walls because they can't handle not knowing exactly where they're going. I was thinking about this because I've noticed something strange. The people who seem most alive, most creative, most interesting, they're the ones who've learned to dance with not knowing, while everyone else is desperately trying to nail down every variable, control every outcome. These people have discovered something the rest of us are terrified to admit. Uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's actually where all the power lives. If we think of your mind as a sophisticated navigation system, most people are running on this ancient software that treats uncertainty like a system error. The moment something becomes unpredictable, alarms start going off. Warning, unknown territory ahead, must find familiar route immediately. But here's what I find interesting about this. The navigation system was designed for a completely different world. Our brains evolved to keep us alive when uncertainty usually meant danger. Rustling bushes could be predators. Unknown paths could lead to cliffs. So we developed this incredibly sophisticated early warning system that screams, danger, the moment we can't predict what's coming next. The fascinating thing is we're still running that same software in a world where uncertainty isn't usually life-threatening. That promotion you might not get, that conversation that could go either way, that creative project with no guaranteed outcome, none of these are actual tigers. But your nervous system can't tell the difference. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you start paying attention to people who thrive in uncertain situations, you notice they're not fearless. They're not somehow immune to that ancient alarm system. They've just learned to interpret the signal differently. It's like they've upgraded their internal software. Instead of hearing uncertainty and thinking danger, they hear it and think possibility. That nervous energy everyone else tries to eliminate, they've learned to use it as fuel. Think about it. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every moment of genuine growth happens in that space between what you know and what you don't know yet. That's where creativity lives. That's where real learning happens. That's where you discover capabilities you didn't know you had. The really wild part is that our obsession with certainty often creates the very problems we're trying to avoid. When you demand guarantees, you end up making safe choices that lead to predictable outcomes. When you need to know exactly how things will unfold, you miss the opportunities that only appear when you're willing to improvise. So what do you do with this? Well, something I started doing was treating uncertainty like weather, not something to control, but something to dress appropriately for. Instead of asking, how can I know for sure? I started asking, how can I become better at navigating without a map? Instead of trying to eliminate the unknown variables, I got curious about how to stay responsive when they show up. You might try this. Next time you feel that familiar anxiety about not knowing how something will turn out, instead of immediately reaching for your phone to research, plan, or control, pause. Ask yourself, what if this uncertainty is information? What if that uncomfortable energy is actually your system telling you that you're in a space where growth is possible? I'm curious what would happen if you started treating those moments of not knowing as invitations rather than threats. The strange thing about learning to dance with uncertainty is that you don't become more reckless. You actually become more skillful. It's like the difference between being a rigid GPS that breaks down when the roads change versus being an experienced navigator who can find their way regardless of the terrain. You start to realize that the people who seem lucky aren't getting better circumstances. They're just more comfortable operating in the space between what they can control and what they can't. They've learned to surf the uncertainty instead of swimming against it. It makes you wonder, what possibilities are we missing when we insist on knowing the destination before we're willing to take the first step? What adventures are we avoiding because we can't see the whole path from here? Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about. What do you think? Are you more of a rigid GPS? Or are you learning to navigate by the stars?